Hi, I'm Peter Joynt. I'm known as The Joynt on the microphone. I'm a local rapper and I also produce my own music and whatnot. An interesting thing about me is that I stutter when I speak, which you'll find out more and more as I keep going on. An interesting thing about stutterers is they speak with the right side of their brain, whereas regular people speak with the left side of their brain. But when you do anything artistic, whether it be rap or sing, it allows me to bridge the gap between the sides of the brain and speak fluidly. In fact, they teach bad stutterers to sing when they talk because it's all very smooth and a lot of intonation. So it's a very neat kind of relationship between stuttering and music. So that's how I'm able to rap, and if you heard my rap you wouldn't know I stuttered, and if you knew that I was a stutterer you'd be wondering how it was that I could rap. So that's a little neat component about my music. But in terms of songwriting, I've been rapping for about 10 years. Before that I played drums in a band and eventually picked up guitar and keys and bass and all that stuff, and so I've been trying to kind of be kind of a one-man band, and through that I learned how to write songs and build songs. And you know, when you first get started you end up just writing about some fairly rinky-dinky stuff, and then you kind of get down into it and figure out how to write a provocative song. And I truly believe that if you're going to write, you have to write about something that's true, that's meaningful, that basically allows you to write with passion and true kind of feeling. So how I got my start in Ottawa was I wrote a song called Cap City, and I was wondering how I would land on people's radars in the city, and I said, well, why don't I write a song about Ottawa? I'm a big fan of Ottawa, and all sorts of people love to hate Ottawa, and they say, it's this, it's that, it's not Montreal, it's not Toronto. But I truly feel like if you focus on what's there versus what's not there, there's so much great stuff. And it was because of this positive song about Ottawa that I got my start and got a call from the Sens and did some songs for the Sens. I've since written songs for Rogers TV. I've done work with Ottawa Tourism and all that stuff. So, but and through that I write with a passion about how I really feel. And one of the songs you'll hear from me today is a song called The Proposal, which is a song I wrote for my now wife. It was a song I used to propose to her, and it's kind of, you think of hip-hop songs about girls, about being, you know, the girls and the rims and the bling and all this crap, but it's a true love song. And I thought that if I wrote a hip-hop song but kind of in this love ballad kind of way, it would be a neat way to join the two, and kind of a cool way to propose to my girlfriend at the time. Alright, yeah. So the process depends on kind of what style of song I write. Sometimes with the regular rap stuff where it plays more about, it's more about wordplay and kind of witty lines than it is about telling a story. I will often jot down notes on, I'll write lines on sticky notes, and then I'll just keep them stacked up in my bag or whatnot, and then one day I'll kind of pull them all out and I'll put them on computer, and you kind of rearrange and play a bit to kind of tell this story. That's often what happens. But of course then you start to write the songs that right there in the moment you feel it, and it just flows and flows. And then I'll often sit down at a computer and just write and write and write, and then of course you go back through it and you find out what fits and what doesn't. But it truly is a bit of a jigsaw puzzle, and especially in rap you've got to make sure the beat's on, and of course that that the words are rhyming and whatnot. So it does take a bit of massaging after the fact. It used to be that I would write rhymes and then find the beat after and make the two mix. But now I'm focusing far more on the beat, and you want a certain feeling. And so once I find a beat that's nice, that would be perfect for, say, a love song, or kind of like like an upbeat hip hop kind of pump up song, I'll find that beat first, knowing what I'm going to do with it, and then I will go and I'll write the rhymes and I'll fit them to that beat, but of course with the kind of jot notes before. I've got pages and pages of all these rhymes, and sometimes I will categorize them, kind of rhymes about a girl, rhymes about Ottawa, rhymes about passion, and kind of just going for it. So I've got this long list of rhymes which I can go to pull some out if I've got holes in my song that I need to fill. So it is a bit about picking from here and there and making it match up so that it fits the beat, and so that the true intention of the song is that it's kind of a powerful song where you're actually speaking with true passion. So I haven't done too much sampling. It used to be that I would do all the instruments live, and this was before I had the gear to loop as well. So I would sit downstairs in my basement with a digital 4-track, and I would play a drum track right the way through, and then on top of that I would layer guitar and keys and bass. But of course, when you have to play it straight through, you've got to be right on beat, and that makes it extremely tough, and that would make for kind of a 4 or 5 hour recording session just to get the drums down. So it was quite challenging, but I was quite proud of myself at the time. Oh, look at this, I did it all on my own, and it's all live instruments, just like the Roots, a group that I looked up to. And since then I've said, holy smokes, that's just way too much work. So I've started to get into the software side of things and really learning how to create a beat with software, and then finding a nice guitar riff to put in there. But I do a lot of it with keyboard via USB or MIDI. So I do a lot of the bass lines and the synth stuff all live on my own with an external keyboard. But software is the way to go. It just saves so much time, and you can get these truly professional sounds. For example, with drums, it would take me like a couple of hours just to mic up a room and get the right drum tone, and oh, that snare is too loud or it's too deep or whatnot. But with software or with an electronic drum kit, you kind of plug in, you've got this perfect sound. So it saves a lot of time, but you just have to invest the time in learning the software, which is a bit of a stickler at first, but once you get into it, then you can kind of mature as a beat maker and then as a songwriter, and it kind of all comes together. Yeah, so it's a very good question. So I do have a full-time job, and I play shows at night, and I speak at schools, and I do all sorts of stuff in my spare time. So I do not collaborate very often with other people, just because I don't have the time. I like to work on my own schedule, and if I know I have a couple of hours free to write, I will take that. Whereas if you work with other people, you got to schedule when they're available, and then you might have something pop up and you have to reschedule. I say that, but I also, I do collaborate a bit. I've written a lot of songs with this one female singer named Maya. We've written a number of songs, but we tend to write them in our own kind of time and in our own silos, if you will. I will come up with the beat and the song and the theme, and I will say, this is what I've got. I'd love you to write a hook or a chorus, and she'll go off and do it and bounce it off me, and we'll kind of massage it from there. But it tends to happen kind of within our own time because she's got kids and I've got all sorts of stuff going on. So gone are the days of like getting together for band practice and kind of writing a song. And I kind of like that because I have very strict views of what I want to do with a song, whereas I guess I'm sort of selfish in that respect. I don't want someone else to say, well, I don't like that, or I don't think we should do that. It basically allows me true artistic freedom and creative control. Yeah, that's a good question. I'd say a big inspiration would be Mos Def. He got his start in rap, but has since moved on to acting in movies like The Italian Job and all that stuff. But Mos Def, he's so good. He's such a smart lyricist, but also he's positive. He talks about smart stuff. He's not rapping about girls and rims on my car and like, oh, like how much money do I have and all this stuff. He is smart, kind of social commentary with a lot of wordplay as well, and that's the style that I would want to be known for. I'm look at me, I'm like a preppy white dude from Ottawa, not bound to be rapping about just, you know, all the gangsta stuff and all that. I would want to be known for writing with my mind and with my heart than for trying to take on the hip-hop persona. So I came up with the idea to write, it was time for me to propose to my girlfriend, and I knew that she was the one, and there was no question, but I wanted to do it in a really cool way. So I thought, that's it, a song. So I started to write the beat, and I took some. So it's tough when you live with someone to write and record a song without them knowing about it. So I started to write a bit and come up with some ideas when she was out with friends, or I would book studio time, which is where I go just to mix and master my songs. I've never written anything in the studio because I use my home studio, which allows me more time, and it's far cheaper, obviously. But I started to book studio time so I could write in the studio, and I worked with my sound engineer and came up with the beat, boom, and then down came the writing. I get my best writing done when I'm on vacation, when I have to take a plane ride somewhere. I love to write on the plane because you're stuck there, you have nothing to do. It's a great time to write, and it's loud, and you can kind of sing to yourself, and people won't hear you because the jet engines are going and whatnot. So I was going on a trip with my girlfriend to Turkey, so I started to write a bit in my spare time, and I couldn't say the words out loud because I wouldn't want her to hear and whatnot. So I got a bit of writing done on the trip, but on the way home, we were supposed to sit beside each other, but sure enough, there were no two seats beside each other, so we got split up. I got sat on one side of the plane, she was on the other. She was so bummed about it, and meanwhile, I was like, yes, this is my chance. So I sat down and wrote this song, and kind of was so excited about it because I had the time to write it. It was exactly what I wanted. So I got home, and one day I worked from home while she was at work, and I did all the recording of the vocals, and then finally, once the song was all done, I wanted to present it in a way that that could be captured. So I set up a hidden microphone and a hidden video camera to get her reaction of this song. So she came home from work one day. I said that there was actually our 2-month anniversary of dating, and so that was perfect, a perfect excuse for why I would have written her a song. So I said, come on into this room. I'd like you to check out this song I wrote for you. So it starts, and she was bawling by about the third or fourth line, and by then I knew, yes, I've got her. And so it's a song that builds up, and the last line is, will you marry me? And so towards the end, I'm down on the ground, I'm fishing for the ring box, which I'd put underneath this sofa, and so I swung out, got down on one knee, and popped the question, and she was just bawling, so much so that I had to ask the question again. And sure enough, she says, of course I will. And so I took the audio from that moment, and I actually baked it into the song. So in the actual song, and there's also a YouTube video that shows the actual video from the day I proposed. So it worked out great. She said yes, and all of my male friends have made a point to tell me what a dick I am for having kind of set the bar so high, because all of her friends were just totally moved by it, and all of my guy friends were left scratching their heads, wondering what they could do to pop the question. So true success. Here we go. The proposal. Ooh, gotta get loose. There's a little bit of a build up. We'll just let that music build. And I'd play all the piano in this track and what not, so. I've been thinking a lot lately, yo, but mostly about love. Of all the reasons, think it's mostly because I felt love before but never loved like this. And I've come close but I've never felt bliss. It hit me like I never wanted something so bad, at a pace that reminded me of dreams I'd had when I was young. And this thing had only begun, and now I look at where I am and everything I become. Life is like fragments and you put them together. You decide realness and you decide forever. And man, I can feel it, this thing is so real. You had me from the start, and that's exactly how I feel about you, about me, about this, about us, about life, about love, about kids, about trust. I love you in a way that hasn't even been defined yet. You got me going now, cause you know how my mind get. So let me go, I mean it's been so long since I felt like this and cared so much about a song. This is monumental and I wanna get it right, because this right here is for the rest of my life. I had to live a bit to learn to be a man, for this to come together and according to plan. All to get me ready for this moment right here, where the time and my mind and the skies go clear. I think of what I picked up and what I put down, and that's nothing in comparison to what I've got now. This is effortless and it just fell in my lap. It's like life's version of the tip of the hat. And so break it down a bit, you got the whole map covered. Stars, the planets in my world that you hover. And I'm so grateful for the plans that we laid, because with you I must admit I feel like I've got it made. Oh yeah, this is the beat coming in. So yes, basically the story of how we met, and you'll find out more in just a second. Notice there's no chorus in this track. All love. I think back to the first time I met you. I thought I came across, apparently I didn't get through. You were bummed I didn't ask you for your number, but then I hit you up the next day that summer. And so it started, what a summer, what a match. What a long time coming for this lifelong catch. A breath of fresh air without a care in the world. But then, man, do you care when it's for the right girl? And what a girl, she had a whole different thing about her. She's like Saturn with the glow and the ring around her. Carefree and she was definitely smart. A deadly combination for the matters of the heart. She had integrity and she had the best of me. Then this thing started feeling more like it was destiny. So right, it's like I could not miss, because the grass don't get much greener than this. This is love and I can feel it in my bones. It gets me up and I can't wait to come home.
home to you and everything that we created, cause that is where my heart is and how this escalated. End of the night, man, forget not knowing. I'm in the cabin, know exactly where I'm going. Home to this full-time honeymoon phase, where we gonna ride it out until the end of our days. I mean, you're so giving and you love living, and I've been around but never something so gripping. And I love things like helping you out in the kitchen and the hug your dad gave me when I asked him for permission. And look at that, he's even all about my music. Have it anyway, and that's exactly how I choose it. So do me this and just stand there and stare at me. Here it goes, will you marry me?
So there you go, she said yes, and she couldn't believe this. Yeah, this song is super important to me. Actually, most times when I perform, and I performed it at our wedding actually, I end up getting super choked up in the middle of the track, and I'll be rapping, kind of get all verklempt. I've done that at shows and festivals and stuff, but hey, when it comes from the heart, it means so much more. So right from the heart, it'll take you far.